So the energy seems to be self-directed. It seems to be corrective. When I
Hmm.
place a person's photograph close to that instrument,
Hmm.
there's a download of light energy into their brain, their psyche.
Radio show, man. They everywhere.
All right, y'all. We're tuning in for another episode of Baked Out Radio Show. I'm your host Andreas, and I have this is a very new, innovative technology that I was able to come across via the whole pod mesh. So I've been loving that service. So I have Tom Paladino, who has scalarlight.com, which is a new way of energy source. And Tom, once go ahead and break down some of the science and everything, because I don't want to misrepresent here. So let us know what is a scalar light, how you came about it, and just a little premise of how it can help people.
Andreas, thank you for the invite. I am a scalar light researcher. I work with the energy of the sun and the stars. My name's Tom Paladino. And I've developed a unique approach in which we can take energy and work with people by way of their force field, what some people might want to call their energy field, and improve their health. I've developed instruments. Some of those instruments are behind me. I'm in my lab right now. I want to demonstrate these instruments as to how a scalar energy instrument can improve what I call quantum health. It's not biological, it's all energy, and it's a force field.
Tax season is here. Maximize your refund legally with the tax office that has the experience. Barber's Tax and Credit Repair is available to assist you. Meet with any of the tax preparers that will gather some basic information and be able to set you up with the best refund possible. This includes sitting down with your preparer and navigating that process. Upon completion, you will be confident in knowing that you have maximized and gotten the best refund possible. Go ahead, get started today with a consultation and schedule your appointment. Call 1-877-775-2552. Barber's Tax and Credit Repair, they are here for you.
And we'll get into that. So it's a new science. It's not electricity. We work with people with scalar energy instruments, scalar light instruments. And the way I work with people is through their force field on a photograph. Now, hang on.
Mm-hmm.
I only work with photographs because a force field is on my photograph. This is the key to my work. And if you can understand that if we're having a Zoom call, you with me, and we can speak by way of computer, then I can also communicate by way of a photograph. This is the new science of scalar light research.
So how old is scalar light research? And as far as you say, it's a new science. So it's like 10 years old, 12 years old, 20, if you just haven't heard of it? Or
in my estimation, Nikola Tesla was the first man to control scalar energy. But his work was lost, or his work is, if you will, was undermined. There's been a few researchers since then, but their work was never given serious consideration. So I'm one of the few in the present generation working with what I consider scalar light instruments, instruments that do not work through electricity. They work through a different energy spectrum. So is it new and emerging? Yes. Why? Because so few people have taken up this study. So few people realize that there's two sources of energy.
So like what drove you into the industry, or finding it?
I saw the promise. I can abstract. I can see what this energy can do. Energy is fundamental. Energy controls nature. Now, if I can have a scalar energy instrument that gives me some type of ability to control human health, then that's what I wanted to do. And I've been quite successful with that. And that's not because I have any peculiar ability. Rather, I've developed a scientific process in which the energy is the healing aspect. There's no human input. It's an energy instrument that heals. It's not me. I'll demonstrate to the audience.
Okay.
Scalar energy instrument. I'm going to point to the instrument. There's 2 Tesla coils.
Mhm.
You can see those 2 Tesla coils. I'm in my laboratory once again. And this energy instrument is so strong, it's giving off a tremendous amount of energy to the point where I can take a light bulb and it illuminates under the influence of scalar energy.
Yeah.
So this is not per se your typical electrical representation. I can hold up any light bulb and it illuminates under the influence of scalar energy. So what we have now is a new branch of physics in which this energy can fill an environment. And when I place a person's photograph inside the instrument, the energy that fills this environment behind me will find its way into their force field. I never work with people, I work with energy fields. So if you and I can communicate by Zoom by way of our computer, I can communicate by way of a photograph. Okay. So again, a person has a force field.
Yeah. So I want to get into okay, you said the healing properties that it does, right? So what all have you been able to help people with?
Okay. All right. So the energy seems to be self-directed. It seems to be corrective. When I place a person's photograph close to that instrument, there's a download of light energy into their brain, their psyche. For instance, the amount of light that goes into this light bulb is the identical amount of light going into their 7 chakras, to their psyche.
Okay.
So I can access a person's psyche, their brain waves, their 7 chakras, by a download of light. That's one process. Now, chakra balancing, brain balancing, when I do that, the upshot is people feel better. The upshot is people are happier. Some people say they have a very deep dream state. Others say that they're no longer addicted to cigarettes or recreational drugs. So it seems to correct the conscience. We're working on a non-physical level by way of information. There's no biological consequence because it's not biological in nature. And we can access your aura, your force field, through this type of instrument. Now, you cannot achieve this feat with an electrical instrument. You only can achieve this through a scalar energy instrument that accesses the force field. That's what I'm not working with electromagnetic energy.
So when you present this information to others, how receptive are they to the information? Some people, don't understand, it's beyond their comprehension, or because it's not something talked about in traditional manner.
It is not. It's actually suppressed. How do people address this? They want to know the facts. They go to my website, they see the testimonies, they understand the step-by-step process, and then they say, well, if it's an energy instrument, then it's abiding by the laws of science. That's the key to my work. I follow the laws of science, which are immutable. The laws of science do not make mistakes. So I only work with energy instruments that do not make mistakes. They're perfect. They're flawless. And that's how people can rationalize this. They might not understand, but they realize the laws of science you cannot bend and break the laws of science. The laws of science are immutable.
So you have an interesting answer to a question that you ready to answer in your profile, and I think it's fantastic. So why is light healing the future of healing?
Well, scalar light healing is the future because it's simple, painless. I can work with one person, or I can work with 1 million people by way of photographs. The instrument never makes a mistake as long as I'm following the laws of science, and there's so many benefits to be derived. And it's very, very inexpensive. When you're working with a photograph, everybody has a cell phone, everybody can send in a photograph. Okay. Now, here's another technique that I've developed. Remember, everything is light. I'm going to hold up a photograph of the norovirus.
Mhm.
It's responsible for what some people call the stomach flu or gastroenteritis. So this flu virus sometimes makes us nauseous, even to the point of vomiting.
Mhm.
If I wanted to ascertain, to identify the norovirus, I simply place a photograph of the norovirus side by side my photograph. Now, these two photographs communicate. They speak to one another. We're having a conversation, Andreas. We're speaking to one another.
Mhm.
In the quantum field, two photographs speak to one another. They converse. They have a conversation.
Mhm.
If I had the norovirus, this photograph of the norovirus would have a signal. It would identify the norovirus in me, in my quantum field. The instrument would look for the norovirus and destroy it, eradicate it, break it apart, disassemble it. This is very clear, very straightforward. There's no human ingenuity here.
Mhm.
Two photographs communicate. The instrument is designed to look for a virus or a bacterium by way of a photograph and eradicate it, negate it, destroy it. This is the easy way to eradicate a virus.
So I know you've gotten pushback, right? I'm sure you probably like presented your findings and stuff so you can like scale this. That way, you know what I'm saying, it can become a big industry that it should be.
Yes.
What has been the feedback on everybody else's end, like, you know, scientific feedback or the educational industry or community?
That's a great question. It's unbelievable silence. Even though I have testimonies from around the world and people vouch for my work, nobody in academia, nobody in government, nobody in big business, no think tank has ever approached me. Nobody. I only work with people, and I'm fine to keep it at a grassroots level.
Mhm.
If I have, for instance, if I have test results from people, here's a test result from somebody who sent us their photograph.
Mhm.
And according to this individual, they no longer have a viral load for herpes
Oh, wow.
after submitting their photograph to us. We
Mhm.
have these test results on our website. Here's another test result from somebody who submitted their photograph to us. According to this person, they no longer likewise have a viral load for herpes.
Mhm.
This goes on and on and on. Thousands of testimonies. Now, to answer your question, has anybody in any organization ever worked with me? No.
Mhm.
And I think they're starting to realize that there's merit to this new science
Mhm.
and that this new science will prove to be a threat to their money and power.
Mhm. So basically, you feel like, you know, they're trying to, I guess, blackball you, or, you know what I'm saying, trying to blackball the industry from even being, you know, funded and pushed to the masses.
Yes, yes, they are. Yes. And it's subtle right now.
Mhm.
They just ignore me.
Mhm.
If I have these great discoveries, here's another PCR test. This person at one time had a viral load for HIV.
Mhm.
And according to this individual, after they submitted their photograph to us,
Mhm.
they no longer have a viral load for HIV virus.
Mhm.
Well, you would think that this would be headline news and that there would be an interest in my
Mhm.
work. And it's not as if I hide. I'm very open about my work. It's new, it's different, it's a new branch of physics.
Mhm.
See, the problem I think is academia cannot explain what I'm doing. Nobody can. It's a new science. Now, how
Mhm.
many people would ever say that you can influence a photograph? You
Mhm.
can with scalar energy. Okay? Has that ever been proven? No. Academia has never proven that. Okay. So, my approach to get this out there is to speak to people,
Mhm.
simply to speak to people, to develop some type of a grassroots movement, some type of a local movement and national movement, then international movement. It's
Mhm.
the only way that I can depend upon. I don't have the money to advertise and to the extent that some companies do. I don't have those funds. So
Yeah.
it's all word of mouth and it does work.
Mhm. No, but you know, I tell people, because my background is in business with concentration marketing. And I tell people that, you know, word of mouth marketing is the best form of advertising. You just need to throw when people talk about you. Now you can try to influence and, you know, what you're doing and stuff like that and get them to spread their testimonials, but you can't just like press the button, like, hey, go talk about my steps, everybody else to your friends and all that, whatever. So that's the downside to it. I don't think that's enough. But with all you said you have thousands of testimonials, you have this concrete data. Do you feel that somebody or an organization will start to duplicate what you do and like use it as a profit-making entity for them?
That's quite possible. That's quite possible. If they understand this physics, I'll show your audience the instrument. If they understand the physics behind this, then yeah, you could duplicate my results. You could duplicate the instrumentation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if some entity wanted to do this for a pure profit inspiration, then that's up to them. Now, I only can take this one step at a time. I work alone. I am the only researcher in the company, so I do my best to promulgate the message and to get it out there.
How have other people like platforms and stuff that you said you can do on the podcast and things of that nature? How have they received the information?
Other podcast hosts are really enthralled with what I'm doing because they go to the website and they see the thousands of testimonies. Mm-hmm. And I give away 15 days of free sessions. So most of the podcasters have tried my work. Yeah. And most of them say, well, there's some merit here. For some reason, I feel better. Now, I don't expect people to understand it. It's groundbreaking research. I'm still at the learning stage. But after thousands upon thousands of testimonies and upon hundreds of test results from people who say, for whatever reason, they're no longer HIV positive. Mm-hmm. Well, whether we understand it or not, let's look at the results. Mm-hmm. Why not help the world?
Mm-hmm. If they understand it.
Yeah. And you're on page 1 with me.
Yeah.
So if we see great results and it's harmless and it only benefits people, let's move forward. Now, exactly. As the science develops and as we come to a greater understanding of this energy, okay, well then we'll be able to perhaps conduct some type of study that will satisfy the curiosity of both scientists and layperson. But that hasn't happened yet. In other words, no third party has come along to challenge my work. Well, if you want to challenge my work, fine. You're going to have to either prove or disprove what I'm doing. Nobody's ever proven or disproven what I've done.
So I'm very intrigued by this, and I'm wondering with all the different testimonials where people have gotten better, have anyone had because the examples you used were like infectious diseases. What about people who have bone spurs or something biologically wrong with them that has to deal with muscles and things of that nature? Does it help as well?
Somewhat, yes, somewhat. My technique has been perfected. I'm going to make this very clear. If I have a photograph of a microbe, a virus, or a photograph of a fungus, this instrument can decipher the energy field and negate those pathogens. So I've perfected the technique with pathogens. I've also perfected the technique whereby I can use a photograph of a vitamin. Now, why photographs? It's a source of light. And I can match up that photograph of riboflavin with my photograph. And the two, once again, communicate. Riboflavin speaks to my photograph. And it's a download of riboflavin energy into me. So it's not chemical. It's always non-physical action in which the energy of riboflavin is delivered to me. Now, if you only think of the world according to Newtonian physics, you say, well, how can that be? Well, in Newtonian physics, you only can be in one place at one time. In a scalar energy force field, Andreas, if you sent me your photograph, you're in two places at one time. You're at your home, but you're also in my laboratory. If I place your photograph inside this instrument, you bilocate. You're in two places simultaneously. You're at your home, but you're also in my laboratory in Florida. If you understand that, then you realize that scalar energy is everywhere, and it doesn't matter where you live. Your photograph is your double, your quantum version, your bilocated version. You bilocate energetically to my laboratory. So I never work with people in the physical. I work with their aura or their non-physical. Some people call that quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement or connection or the Akashic record or the all-seeing eye of God. If God can be everywhere instantaneously, then we are now into that God realm where we can bilocate. You can actually teleport to my laboratory, or you can bilocate to my laboratory.
Yeah. So someone hits you up for services, and you say the first 15 days are free, but how long would, I guess, a typical service be? Would they have to enroll to be able to, get the benefits?
I always leave it up to people. So some people might come back, they might just sign up and pay for a month or two, and then that's that. Others simply say, well, the 15 days is all I needed. And that's great. That's all they needed. Some people like it so much. I had somebody yesterday sign up for 1 year, 12 months of continuous sessions. Now, as a new science, and to be fair, I have to leave it entirely up to people. Because the rule book has never been written.
Yeah.
There is no common denominator here. We're working with people around the world through their photograph. Everybody's different. So I leave it up to people. There is no standard textbook answer.
So them going through the process, I guess, so like, let's say your person who signed up for a year, 1 month they're working on back pain, the other month they're working on energy levels, month after that, working on something else. Would it look like something like that as far as services being provided?
Yeah. For instance, some people say that by working with microbes, germs, and removing those microbes, some people say they not only feel better, but their range of motion, they don't have arthritis in their hand, or their shoulder is not so stiff, or they don't have the back pain. Well, I think we realize that microbes, germs can contribute not only to inflammation, but that leads to other chronic disease. Now, again, everybody's different. I never, by the way, most of the people I work with, I never meet. So I don't ask them medical questions. I'm not a medical professional. It's really none of my business. But the testimonies that people send us are amazing. It's amazing. So, when some people were dubious about aeronautical flight, and they never believed the Wright brothers could fly a plane, the Wright brothers did fly a plane, and planes do fly.
Yeah.
We realize that. 150 years ago, people were dubious. They said, "Nah, that's not possible." Look at the advances we've made. This is a new science. Eventually, we're going to accept this energy. It's from the sun and the stars. It represents clean energy. There's no chemical discharge. There's no radioactivity. So it's free energy, clean. There's no harm, and you don't need an infrastructure. Now, keep in mind, when I work with people, I don't rely upon satellites or cell phone towers. I simply place the photograph inside the instrument, and the universe is the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So what does this mean, Andreas? We don't need telephone wires. We don't need substations. We don't need windmills, wind farms. We don't need nuclear reactors. You don't need to dig for coal or drill for oil. It's free energy.
So I'm sitting here thinking, like you said, you're using the energy to benefit people, right?
Yes.
How will we use the energy to benefit like vehicles and stuff like that to be able to move around in inanimate objects?
Nikola Tesla purportedly built a scalar energy car in which he took out the combustion engine and he replaced it with scalar energy transmission, so to speak. So by extracting the energy from the sun and the stars, you should be able to power a car. Instead of using electrical or a gas-powered car, why not use the energy from the sun to power a car? I think that's possible. Imagine what this means to mankind. Look, if I can illuminate a light bulb at a short distance here,
Yeah.
if I can illuminate a light bulb at 1,000 miles away, then that's part of the energy equation. I can illuminate buildings.
Yeah. Now, have you been able to use this like for your own personal household as far as like, I see all the other lights that are lit up.
Yeah.
Are you cutting down on your electricity bill?
Not yet. Right now, I'm concentrating on quantum health. I think God will give me the wisdom to better understand this so I can illuminate a building and eventually use this, say, for transportation, for anti-gravity.
Yeah.
Eventually use this for other applications in health. Keep in mind, I'm the only researcher, so
Yeah.
it's right now it's slow going.
No, I definitely get that. But Tom, let everybody know where do they need to go if they're interested in at least trying out the 15-day sessions and all the other different services you'll be able to provide within that.
Yeah. The website is scalarlight.com. SCALAR, scalarlight.com. Once again, visit the website. You can read, we have hundreds of articles. If you want to ask a question, call our support desk. Somebody's there to answer your question. And then take the step. It's free, no obligation. Submit your photograph. Email us your photograph. And you can include family members with their permission. It's so simple. Include your pets. Then after 15 days, you'll feel something. Or during those 15 days of session, you'll feel something. It works. And many people say that, yes, this has improved their health.
I definitely got some people that would be sending on the way. I was like, hey, let's see, what I'm saying? Let's try something different than, with traditional medicine and all that is put people in the place of time. I really do appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing your story and this great information. Said it's fascinating to see what you've been able to do. And just to think if you have an abundance of resources, I know that you'd be able to do things even bigger. So I want people to check you out, things of that nature. Y'all need to go to scalarlight.com if you're interested for the 15-day session. And I'm out. Definitely want to bring you back in the future to see how far you've been able to progress.
Okay, please. I would really enjoy that. Please. Thank you.
You're welcome.